Okay, so think about this for a second. You buy something small, right? Maybe a new electronic gadget or a kid's toy, even just some batteries. And it comes in that clear, hard plastic shell, the kind that snaps together.
Oh yeah, the clamshell, sometimes a real pain to open.
Exactly. You know the one. Shows off the product, keeps it safe, but yeah, sometimes you need tools to get into it. Well, that's clamshell blister packaging. And while you might just notice it when you're wrestling with some new headphones, it's actually the core of this huge global market.
Huge is right. We're talking billions of dollars.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are really getting into the weeds on the global clamshell blister packaging market. And our guide for this is a pretty comprehensive report. It's called Global Clamshell Blister Packaging Market, Growth Forecasts to 2033, and it's from Cognitive Market Research.
It's got data going back to 2021, looks ahead to 2025, and then gives us these long-range forecasts all the way out to 2033. So a good long view.
All right, so our mission today is to pull up the really key stuff from all these numbers, trying to figure out what's actually driving this market, and maybe uncover some surprising things about something we literally handle almost every day.
Okay, so let's unpack this, shall we? When you first hear clamshell blister packaging, I mean, let's be honest, multi-billion-dollar industry probably doesn't spring to mind.
Not immediately, no.
Mhm.
But the numbers are genuinely quite startling when you look at them. So
Yeah.
back in 2021, the global market was already valued at around $7.7 billion. dollars.
7.7 billion. Okay, that's already significant.
It is, but it's really just the starting point.
Hmm.
The report projects it's going to expand pretty significantly, hitting over $10.7 billion by 2025.
Wow. Okay.
And then, looking further out, the forecast is for it to surge to an impressive $21 billion by the year 2033.
21 billion.
That's right, which works out to a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of about 8.7% over that whole period. Okay, hold on. So we're saying this market is expected to basically almost triple in size in just, what, 12 years?
Pretty much, yeah. From 2021 to 2033, it's substantial growth.
That pace is, well, it's kind of staggering for what seems like such a, basic everyday product. It really makes you think about what's going on underneath, like shifts in consumer behavior or maybe industry needs.
Absolutely. There are definitely bigger forces at play.
Okay, so with those big global numbers setting the scene, let's maybe zoom out a bit. Where is this growth actually happening? Which regions are leading the charge? And where's the really dramatic stuff occurring?
Right, good question. And the regional picture is really fascinating. You see this interesting mix of established markets and these rapidly emerging ones. So Asia Pacific, for example, was already the biggest market back in 2021. That was worth almost $2.5 billion then.
Okay.
And it's projected to keep growing strongly, reaching nearly $7 billion by 2033. So still a powerhouse.
7 billion, wow.
Yeah. And then you've got North America and Europe. They're also showing really robust upward trends. Both are projected to clear the $5 billion mark by 2033.
So these mature markets, they're not slowing down, really.
Not at all. Still growing steadily. But the real kind of wow moment, I think, comes when you look at the high growth regions.
Okay.
Africa. The growth there is just, well, astonishing is the word used. It shows a CAGR of over 16%.
16%.
It's projected to jump from about $108 million in 2021, right, to over $600 million by 2033.
Whoa. That's nearly a 6 times increase.
Exactly, almost sixfold. And we're seeing, similar really strong growth in places like the Middle East and South America, too. They're both growing at over 9% CAGR.
That Africa number, nearly 6 times growth. That is genuinely surprising. It definitely makes me rethink where the big economic growth stories are happening globally. What do you think is actually causing that kind of, explosion in growth in places like Africa compared to the steadier climb in North America or Europe?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it taps into these larger economic shifts, I think. In many African countries, you're seeing a really fast expansion of the middle class.
Okay.
And alongside that, there's a big shift happening from informal street markets towards more organized, modern retail, supermarkets, chain stores, that kind of thing.
Right, more formal shops.
Exactly. And that means you need more standardized product displays. You need, crucially, packaging like clamshells that protects the goods, makes them look good on the shelf, boosts that shelf appeal.
And deters tampering, presumably.
Absolutely. Plus, you're seeing a rise in local manufacturing in many regions, which also creates more demand for these kinds of consistent packaging solutions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
That regional picture is already painting this really interesting story of like global development and retail changing.
So let's get even more specific then. Are there particular countries within these regions that really jump out, either the biggest players or maybe ones with surprisingly fast growth? Oh, definitely. Let's drill down a bit. So within North America, the U.S. is, well, it's the giant, right? By far the largest single country market. It's projected to more than double, hitting over $4.3 billion by 2033.
Still huge growth.
Absolutely. But here's something interesting. Canada actually shows a higher growth rate. Its CAGR is nearly 10%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, its market is expected to almost triple to nearly $900 million.
Why do you suppose Canada's rate is higher? Any thoughts?
Well, it could reflect perhaps an even faster acceleration in e-commerce adoption there. And, with more online shopping comes a greater need for that protective packaging for shipping. That could be part of it.
Interesting point. Okay, what about Europe?
In Europe, Germany is a really key market. It's forecast to cross the $1 billion mark by 2033. You've also got France, Italy showing strong, pretty consistent growth. But Russia actually stands out with a particularly high growth rate, over 9% CAGR. Yeah, suggesting, some significant shifts happening in its own retail and consumer goods sectors. Spain also shows strong growth, around 9% too.
Got it. And Asia Pacific, you mentioned it was the biggest region overall.
That's right. And within that, China is, of course, a massive player, projected to reach over $2 billion by 2033, growing at about 8.5% CAGR.
Still very strong.
Very strong. But the real standout, the star of the show in terms of growth rate for the entire report, is India.
India. Okay, what are we seeing there?
India shows the highest CAGR mention, anywhere over 10.7%.
Wow. Over 10% annual growth.
Yes, its market is forecast to more than triple, reaching over $1.3 billion.
Right.
That kind of explosive growth, it really points to this massive burgeoning consumer class and just a rapid modernization of their whole retail system.
That's incredible. Any others in Asia Pacific?
Yeah, Australia and Singapore also show really high CAGRs, both over 9%. So
Yeah.
broad strength there.
Okay, let's hop over to South America.
Right. Brazil leads the way there, projected to hit over $720 million, growing at nearly 9% CAGR. Very solid. And Argentina and Colombia are also showing really strong growth, both close to that 10% CAGR mark as well. So again, widespread growth.
And the Middle East.
In the Middle East, the UAE really stands out. It's got the highest EHAGR in that region, over 10.2%. Its market is expected to more than triple, too.
Another tripling market.
Exactly, reaching about $260 million. Egypt also shows really impressive growth, nearly 10% CAGR there as well.
Okay, and then back to Africa, which had that astonishing regional growth. How does it look country by country?
Just as dramatic, really. Nigeria and South Africa both have key GRs well over 15%. Nigeria at 15.7%. South Africa even higher at 16.6%.
15, 16%. That's just huge.
It really is. Each of those markets, Nigeria and South Africa, is projected to basically quintuple or even sextuple in size. Both are expected to reach over $250 million individually by 2033.
Wow. So it's not just one or two hotspots. It's this consistent, really high growth across quite a diverse set of these emerging economies.
That's exactly it. It's quite remarkable when you see it laid out like that. And looking at all these numbers, region by region, country by country, it naturally brings us to the big question, doesn't it?
Which is?
What are the actual forces, the fundamental drivers behind all this expansion, especially these, huge surges we're seeing in the developing region?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's clearly not random. There have to be some powerful real-world reasons pushing this market forward so consistently across the globe. What does the report say are the core drivers?
Well, if you connect all these dots, the report really highlights three main things that are pushing this market. And it suggests that, clamshell packaging isn't just sitting still, it's actively adapting.
Okay, what's the first one?
First is worldwide sustainability efforts. Now, that might sound counterintuitive, right? Because we often think of plastic packaging.
As a problem, yeah.
Exactly, but the industry is actually under a lot of pressure from consumers, from regulations to innovate. So you're seeing a big push towards using different materials, maybe incorporating recycled content, and really focusing on designing these clamshells so they can be recycled more easily.
Okay. So even as demand grows, they're trying to make the packaging itself greener.
Precisely. It's about adapting to those environmental concerns. The second major driver is retail transformation.
How so?
Think about the absolute explosion of e-commerce, online shopping.
Right, yeah.
It's-
Everything's delivered now.
And when things are shipped, they need protection, right? Clamshells are actually really good at protecting products during transit, cutting down on damage, which means fewer returns for retailers, and that's a big cost saver for them.
Good point. I hadn't thought about the shipping angle so much.
And even in physical stores, they offer that great shelf appeal, right? You can see the product clearly, but it's still secure. That combination of visibility and security is, well, invaluable as retail keeps changing.
Makes sense. Okay, so sustainability retail changes. What's the third factor?
The third one is maybe the most fundamental.
Yeah.
It's just the ongoing, persistent consumer product packaging needs. Across so many categories, electronics, tools, cosmetics, hardware, even some food items people expect and demand, packaging that is secure, lets them see the product, and is reasonably convenient.
Keeps the product safe, stops tampering.
Exactly. It ensures the product is intact, hasn't been messed with, and you, the customer, can see exactly what you're buying before you, well, wrestle it open.
Huh.
So that basic fundamental demand for packaging that does all those jobs well just continues to fuel the market growth.
That really puts it all together. It reframes this, seemingly simple piece of plastic. It's not just a throwaway container. It's actually a really critical piece of the puzzle in global supply chains, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly adapting to everything from, like you said, environmental pressures to how we all shop now.
That's a great way to put it. It's a dynamic component.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap what we've dug into today. We started by uncovering the, frankly, surprising scale of this global clamshell blister packaging market
Yeah, heading towards $21 billion by 2033.
and seeing its really strong growth projected to nearly triple in just over a decade. We highlighted that incredible acceleration happening in emerging regions, Africa leading the pack, India showing the highest country growth rate.
Right, alongside that steady, significant expansion still happening in mature markets like North America and Europe.
And then we unpacked the why behind it all.
Yeah, understanding it's not just happening randomly, but it's really being propelled by these big underlying forces that push for sustainability in packaging.
The huge shifts in retail, especially with e-commerce.
And just those fundamental ongoing needs from us as consumers for products that arrive safely, look good, and are, securely packaged.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, maybe next time you pick up an item and you're faced with that clear plastic clamshell, take just a second. Think beyond the product inside. Consider this pretty sophisticated, multi-billion-dollar global industry that's working constantly to get that product to you safely, securely.
And in a way that's trying to adapt to the future, whether that's environmental concerns or the demands of online shopping.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it, how something so common, so ubiquitous, can be so deeply tied into these massive economic and social trends happening all around us? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden markets like this are shaping your daily life in ways you might not even realize?
Right. We've all been there, haven't we? You're looking at that brand new gadget or maybe just a pack of batteries, and it's perfectly encased in that clear, hard plastic shell.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great, protects the product, lets you see exactly what you're getting.
Sure.
But then you actually try to open it,
Mm-hmm.
and well, suddenly you feel like you're trying to break into Fort Knox.
Yeah, the dreaded clamshell.
Exactly. We're talking, of course, about clamshell blister packaging. It's absolutely everywhere, but, we don't often stop and think about the whole system behind it. Okay, let's unpack this.
And really diving deep into clamshell packaging.
Yeah.
It's actually more important than you might think at first glance. This isn't just, a throwaway piece of plastic.
Yeah.
No, it's a huge dynamic global market. We're talking billions of dollars. And it has real impacts on manufacturers, on supply chains, and of course on us as consumers. Our insights today, they're pulled from key parts of the Clamshell Blister Packaging Market report by Cognitive Market Research.
Right. So our mission today for you listening is basically to cut through all the complexity. We want to pull out the really essential strategic insights. What's actually driving this market? What are the big challenges? And importantly, how's it changing?
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as your shortcut to getting up to speed, whether you're involved in, say, product development, supply chain stuff, or maybe you're just interested in packaging innovation.
A very active field right now.
Absolutely. So, okay, we mentioned that feeling of fighting with the package, but
Yeah.
what's really driving manufacturers to keep using these things? Let's look at the demand side first. Consumer electronics and retail seem like the obvious starting point. That's a massive area, right?
Definitely.
I mean, just think about the sheer number of gadgets, headphones, cables. They almost always come in a clamshell.
They really do. And, the reason manufacturers keep choosing clamshells here, it's more than just basic protection. Yes, transparency is good, but there's a psychology to it, especially for expensive items.
How so?
Well, seeing the product clearly, it kind of disarms suspicion. It acts like a silent salesperson, building trust right there on the shelf. It helps people feel confident about the quality and design before they even unbox it.
Ah, interesting. Like pre-purchase validation.
Exactly. And that actually helps reduce buyers' remorse, maybe even returns because someone thought it looked damaged in a closed box.
Hmm.
So it's a strategic move for electronics, hardware, even toys.
Okay, the silent salesperson. That makes sense. Now, beyond just seeing it, you mentioned tamper-proofing earlier. How big a deal is the threat of tampering? Is this a major, widespread problem, or is it more about, covering liability and making people feel secure?
It's really both. The threat is real in some areas, and the perception of security is vital everywhere else. Think about batteries, razor blades, and definitely pharmaceuticals.
Hmm.
Product integrity there is absolutely non-negotiable.
Right.
Clamshells are great for this because those seal edges and the clear plastic mean you can instantly tell if it's been opened or messed with. You have
Yeah.
to destroy the package to get in. So that security isn't just about stopping theft, which it does help with, but it's crucial for protecting the brand's reputation and, frankly, public health in some cases. It's why it's becoming almost a standard requirement in sectors where a compromised product could be disastrous.
Gotcha. Now, something maybe less obvious, but you mentioned it's growing fast, is using clamshells in food and personal care.
Mm.
I picture like fresh fruit packs or those ready-to-eat salads.
Exactly.
Are there different challenges there, like with materials for food safety or keeping things fresh longer compared to electronics packaging?
That's an excellent point. Yes, the needs are quite specific there, and often the material science is different. The compartmentalized design is great for separating things, sure, but the big win is often the barrier protection.
Ah, keeping air out, moisture in, that sort of thing.
Precisely. Extending shelf life, maintaining freshness. Think about keeping those pre-cut vegetables crisp. And they also look good on the shelf, very neat. So it helps with hygiene, presentation, convenience, all while meeting those really strict food safety or personal care rules. It's becoming a key way for brands to stand out in really crowded aisles.
Makes sense. But okay, with all these upsides and this wide use, there's got to be a downside. Let's flip the coin. What are the main challenges or criticisms this market is dealing with?
Right, growth never comes without hurdles. And the biggest one, no surprise, is environmental concerns. They're really front and center now.
The plastic waste issue.
Exactly. Most clamshells are made from plastics like PP, PVC, maybe polystyrene. And while they work well, they definitely contribute to landfill problems and, worse, marine pollution.
And people are noticing more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's huge pressure from consumers who are more eco-conscious now, plus stricter regulations coming in on single-use plastics. Brands that don't sign more sustainable alternatives aren't just facing fines, they risk really damaging their image with customers who care about this stuff. Packaging has become a real battleground for brand loyalty.
Okay, sustainability is huge. What else? You hear about the cost sometimes. Is it actually expensive to make these things?
It can be, especially the setup. Designing and then tooling up the molds for custom clamshell shapes, that could be a significant upfront cost.
Why is that more expensive than, say, a cardboard box?
It involves specialized machinery for thermoforming heating and shaping the plastic and then sealing it precisely. And getting those custom molds right takes precision engineering, so that initial investment. It can be tough, particularly for smaller businesses, startups, or maybe products with really thin margins or short production runs where you don't get the economies of scale.
Right. It creates a bit of a barrier for the little guys.
It can, yeah. It makes it harder to justify unless you're moving high volumes.
And then there's the one we started with. Maybe the most relatable drawback. The sheer difficulty in opening them. That whole wrap rage phenomenon. We've all cursed at a package before.
Probably.
Beyond just annoying us, does that rage actually hurt the brand's business?
It absolutely does. That's a critical point. Wrap rage isn't just a momentary frustration. It can genuinely damage how people feel about the brand.
Like you remember the struggle.
Exactly. And it can lead people to choose a competitor next time if their packaging is easier to open. Think about negative online reviews, lower loyalty, even returns if someone accidentally cuts themselves or damages the product trying to hack into it. It really forces this question. How do you get that balance right between strong security and actually letting your customer use the product
Yeah.
without needing tools and a safety briefing.
A very tricky balance. So, okay, we've got these big challenges, the
Yeah.
environmental impact and this consumer frustration. But industries adapt. What's happening on the innovation front? What solutions are emerging to tackle these things, especially looking ahead?
Well, it's precisely those challenges that are pushing the innovation, which is good to see. Sustainability, as you'd guess, is probably the #1 focus right now across the board.
What does that look like in practice?
We're seeing a really strong shift towards materials that are easier to recycle or even biodegradable. Companies are actively working with things like RPT, that's recycled PT plastic. A big challenge there is getting the recycled stuff to be as clear and strong as virgin plastic, but they're making huge strides.
Okay.
They're also exploring plant-based plastics like PLA and different types of post-consumer recycled materials. And it's not just the material itself. Things like clearer eco-labeling or just using less plastic by making the clamshell thinner but still strong.
Hmm.
Those are big trends too. It's all about meeting those global sustainability targets. And let's be honest, appealing to consumers who are actively looking for greener options. What's really fascinating here is just how fast the material science is moving.
That's really positive. And it seems like the clamshell itself is getting smarter, not just a passive shell anymore. We're hearing about integrating things like QR codes or RFID tags, even anti-counterfeit markers.
Yes, that's another major wave, smart packaging.
Beyond just proving it's not fake, what do these features actually do for a business? What's the practical value?
Oh, it's huge and goes way beyond just anti-counterfeiting, although that's important too.
Mm.
These features allow for things like real-time tracking through the supply chain. That's gold for managing inventory and reducing losses.
Okay.
For the consumer, scanning a QR code might take you to instructions or a video, maybe even an augmented reality thing.
Hmm.
It boosts engagement. And think about pharmaceuticals again. RFID tags can track a specific package right to the patient, ensuring authenticity and compliance.
Hmm.
The package stops being just a box and becomes like a data carrier. It offers incredible new levels of insight and control.
Wow. Okay. From dumb plastic to data hub.
Pretty much.
And one last trend, maybe more about aesthetics, but still important, customization and branding. Companies seem to be investing more in making the clamshell itself look unique. Bold designs, 3D shapes, special inserts, printed backers, making it really stand out. Is that just about looking pretty on the shelf?
It's partly about shelf appeal, yes, but it's more strategic than just looking pretty.
Mm-hmm.
In really crowded markets, that visual differentiation is a powerful way to grab attention
Right.
and elevate how people perceive the brand.
Right.
It works particularly well for things like personal care products, toys, maybe premium tools, categories where the unboxing experience and the look of the package are almost part of the product's value.
Yeah.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, the packaging is becoming much more integrated into the brand's story and overall value proposition.
Yeah.
It's often the very first impression, even before you touch the product.
So wrapping it all up then, we've taken a pretty deep look at the forces shaping this global clamshell blister packaging market. We've seen the strong growth drivers, especially in electronics and food, but also the major pushback on environmental grounds and that user frustration. Yet, there's also a huge amount of innovation happening in sustainable materials, smart features, and branding. It's clear that even though it faces challenges, the future here is, well, packed with opportunity and transformation.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought for you, for everyone listening. Think about how fast packaging tech is evolving right now, specifically trying to solve those environmental and frustration problems. Now, project that forward.
Okay.
Imagine a future where the packaging doesn't just become easier to open, but maybe it actively helps you. What if it could give you diagnostic info about the product inside? Or what if it could sort of disassemble itself for perfect recycling? How might the whole idea of packaging change in the next, say, 10 years, moving beyond just being a container to become something genuinely interactive, integrated, maybe even anticipating what we need before we ask?